This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
Hey, let's do it. Let's get ready. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Feeling great, man. Can't wait to get this thing rolling tomorrow.
All right, I got to get you a Big O shirt because you're
you
wearing
do,
the
brother.
Stuff. Got to get you some Big O shirt, man. If you're going to sport that stuff there. Anyway, listen, I got to ask you something because stuff is said, stuff is not really reported, but rumored and message boards and all those kind of things.
Right.
There is some stuff being talked about that and Ruiz's relationship when the talk of Tropical Park apparently has pissed off the people at Hard Rock Stadium. And that maybe even the Hard Rock brass may have reached out to the Life Wallet brass. Can you confirm any of that being true, or is it all absolute lies, or are we in the gray area right now with some of that?
Well, I reached out to somebody at Miami who would know everything about this. And I sent them a screenshot of these rumors, these message board rumors. And the response I got 10 minutes later was not true. And I guess ultimately the rumor is that it would affect Miami for their last home game this year, that supposedly the Dolphins are upset about this, yada, yada, yada. Whether or not the Dolphins are upset with Ruiz is a different story. I don't have any intel on that. But as far as it affecting Miami and their relationship, I know this. I know Miami has gone out of its way. Dan Radakovich has gone out of its way. I know Rudy Fernandez has gone out of his way to say positive things about the contract that they have with the Dolphins and the fact that they like playing there. Yeah. I mean, there's been no from Miami's angle, from an actionable angle, that where it could affect the Hurricanes. I don't think anything is happening there. Whether or not they're upset with Ruiz is a different story. So,
and you don't know if there ever was that conversation between Life Wallet and Hard Rock.
I mean, I know this. I know Ruiz has said multiple times that he wants to buy the Dolphins. He wants to buy the Marlins. He wants to have a stadium. I mean, he said a lot. He said a lot of different things. And I, could I sit here and tell you, do I know that the Dolphins have called him? I haven't asked him. I haven't honestly texted Ruiz in probably a couple of months now, just because it's kind of been, football season. It's kind of been like an irrelevant backstory to me in all of this. So I know the rumor going around is that, his meddling and saying he wants to buy a stadium is going to cause problems for Miami and this and that. I asked the highest person I could ask at the University of Miami about it, and their response was just not true. So
because it's hard for them to play the middle game. Mm-hmm. They can't say, well, we're excited about Ruiz and him, doing anything he can to help the program, but then we're also happy to play at Hard Rock Stadium. Well, you've got a lease there for another 10 years, right? Something like that. Is there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it runs through 2032. I mean, that's the bottom line is they're under contract for that.
Right. So, and I'd love to know if there's such thing as tampering in that contract, because I'd
have to see the contract to be able to tell you that. I don't think anybody has.
The second he starts putting shovel in the ground, it's tampering.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, certainly when actions actually happen, but nothing's happening. It's just all.
But that's my point, that maybe there is some teeth to this story, because if it goes from myth to actual life to actual reality, then a tenant is needed. We're not doing the St. Pete thing again, right? Where they built it for the White Sox. The White Sox never came,
right.
And it was a white elephant for I don't know how long, until the Devil Rays came to town eventually. I forgot how long that was a white elephant, but that's why that stadium is so bad and so antiquated, because it was built for the White Sox a long time ago, actually, not for the Devil Rays.
Yeah. there's obviously a lot of tentacles to this. Oh, I think being a smart person sitting back and watching all this, the University of Miami needs John Ruiz because of his NIL money, right? They need him. That's what matters right now, is getting him to keep players here and happy. The stadium is his endeavor. It's what he wants, right? He wants to build that stadium. He sees this as a way to invest his money into something that is going to last forever, and it's going to be used forever. It's a forever home, right? That's the word that Radakovich used for the football facilities. Well, this would be a forever home,
right?
So there's obviously interest in his part to do all this, but that's why every time I've come on here and you've asked me about Ruiz, I've been very careful to talk about it, because I know the university feels a certain way, in the sense of they need him, so they can't push him away and just say, hey, forget it, stop talking about the stadium, because if he can build it for them, it's resourceful. But the reality is, I also know that the people at the stadium, I mean, at UM, like the fact that they're at Hard Rock. Like, they see that as, this is the central location, the easiest way to get our entire fan base. The reality is, if you were to put every one of these people at the University of Miami under oath and have them speak honestly, they would tell you building a stadium near campus, if it's not going to be on campus because there's no room for it,
no, of course not.
Building it a little closer does nothing, because
only my boy Danny Cannell thought you could build one on campus. I heard him say that like a year and a half ago or two. Well, you know what really UM needs is to build it on campus because their students need to go. And it's like, well, wait a minute,
right.
their student base is super small, Danny, and it's called Coral Gables. They're not going to allow you to build 50,000 seat there. And can you imagine parking? Did you see what happened with the basketball arena? You know, I've heard stuff like that is so ridiculous. And you know what? And I like Danny. Danny's a great dude. But sometimes, like that stuff that he said, it was like, dude, you live here, right? Didn't your dad like work at? Have you gone to that campus? Have you been on there? Like, where's there even space to build a stadium? You know what I mean? In Coral Gables,
it's just people talking out of their ass. So that's the problem.
And here, right, and that's what Cannell was doing. He was talking out of his ass. But here's the other thing that is kind of, in a way, we're all talking out of our ass. We got to stop with the student shit, because that base is so small that you can build whatever stadium you want. They're not going to be a big part of it, like in Michigan or Ohio State or FSU or any of these places that are college towns. That's the main place to go to and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to happen here. And your student base is so small. Half those people aren't even from this country. You're building the stadium for the fan base. And that's what you were saying. And that's what probably UM is saying behind the background. We need Hard Rock better because it's more centralized. It's a big-ass stadium. It's easy to get to from all over the place. And it's 1,000%. Not like we have this ginormous student fan base that is dying to go to games or anything. Get the hell out of here, please.
That's why this is a very delicate balance, right? That's why Miami likes the situation it's in with the Dolphins. Yeah. But at the same time, they also like Ruiz's money, right? They also like the fact that he's helping the program out. And he's got his interest in all this, and Miami has their interest. And so it's a balancing act. And that's why I have to choose my words carefully when I talk about this stuff, because it's one thing for anybody to go on a message board and say something. Manny Navarro or Susan Miller-Degnan or Barry Jackson says it, then we're quoted and it's put it. You know what I'm saying? So,
and you have bosses to answer to also, and you got of course. Please,
I'll just say this about the whole stadium thing. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. I think they will finish their lease at Hard Rock Stadium, and unless there's some new expressways built and some new easier ways to get and a bunch of parking available, I don't see Tropical Park happening.
Yeah, no, and 10 years from now, there'll be less land available, less situations available for all of that. So it doesn't make any sense. Hard Rock is actually just fine. You know what? If Ruiz wants to do something really nice, dude, build a brand new UM Hall of Fame. Do that.
That would be nice. You know, somebody was texting me last night, Steve Gorton, who worked for the Sun Sentinel for many, many years as a writer. Steve covered the Hurricanes. And he said, I would love to see, because he was watching the Pittsburgh West Virginia game last night. He said, man, isn't that how cool how the stadium, it feels like it's both college and pro, right? Like the whole, just the colors of the seats. He said, you go to Hard Rock now, they've got pictures up of the Gators and the Seminoles playing in the Orange Bowl. And, you know, would that fly in Tallahassee and Gainesville if all of a sudden you had hurricane stuff? Hell no.
No, I know.
So why not build a Hall of Fame museum type thing at Hard Rock for the Canes? That'd be great.
I think that would be fantastic. They could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place that you could probably, you know what, you can hold it, you could probably have like a separate press conference area where you can hold all the press conferences there and everything. It could be kind of a UM place, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. I mean, because when you induct them into the hall and all that, you can have your ceremonies there and all that. That's what I think they should do. There's such a rich history, and not just football I'm talking about, okay? We've got basketball, we've got baseball, we've got tennis, we've got diving, golf. There's all kinds of great athletes over the history of time, and a really cool Hall of Fame, I think, would be something that if Ruiz wants to do something, that would be actually something really, really cool, because you give the kid a tour of the stadium and then you say, okay, and when your career's done, if you're one of the great ones, you'll be inducted here, and you give them a tour of the hall. And you know, I think that would be actually pretty freaking cool. Plus, you can charge, because Canes fans will want to go, you know, and go check out the hall and that kind of stuff. I think it'll become a thing if you can do something like that, but whatever. That's just me. Hey, listen, at least they're going to complete that damn facility from 70 yards to the 100, which, like, Jesus Christ.
They do need 100% need a football facility upgrade all around. They need to be able to, you know, if you're going to have these recruits come on campus, look, they've done it already with the dorms. They've upgraded the freshman dorms. They look spectacular. You got to keep up with the Joneses in today's world. And so to me, that's the priority. Radakovich and the administration have the right perspective. They got to go out and raise hundreds of millions of dollars now so they can do everything they want to do on campus to upgrade the facilities. The stadium is fine. What they've got to do a better job of, marketing. Get the home fans to feel a connection to the team. Yes, they haven't been very good. They've averaged fewer than 8 wins in the last 19 seasons. We know that. But let's do something where you make the players closer to the fan base, make more of an emotional connection to these kids. I know they have the little pregame walk, hurricane walk, and that's going to continue under Mario, but I don't know, party buses, something to bring people down to that stadium. And like you said, it's not going to be the students.
Winning, bro.
Get the city involved somehow. I don't know how, but
you gotta win, bro. You got to win.
That's going to be number one. But I would say
that's what will create that opportunity for you to bring buzz and bring people on board. You have to convince them that you're really back. Hey, look, ticket sales are way up, so people are already believing that Mario will head them in the right direction, like most of us do. I think Mario's going to lead them in the right direction now. There's no doubt about it. He's a quality dude, so you expect this team, you know, to head in the right direction. But ultimately, dude, winning is what's going to bring that love, that craziness back. The Dolphins, the same thing. It's all about those W's. That's it. They've got to prove. I'm not saying beat Texas A&M, but you've got to have a season where you end up in the ACC championship game.
Yeah,
really.
I think that's a possibility this year, and they have the team to do it. I think Pittsburgh showed us last night. There's some chinks in the armor there.
Yeah, and now let me ask you. This is what I said, because you're not really going to get a great measurement overall with Southern Miss and Bethune-Cookman this week, right? So the first 2 weeks are kind of whatever. But what I do want to see is I want to see organization. I want to see that they know what the hell they're doing out there. I don't want to see a bunch of penalties. I don't want to see a bunch of mistakes. I don't want to see a bunch of turnovers. I don't want to see that you won just because you're more talented. I want to see that you won because you were able to dismantle them, because you looked organized, because you're playing well. And if it happens to be a tight game, I don't want to see somebody standing on the sidelines dancing and celebrating. And if you happen to win an ugly game against a poor opponent, I don't want you to act like you just beat Ohio State. So in other words, I want to see it's not professionalism, but I want to see professionalism all
act like a big boy.
Bottom. That's what I want to see.
Act like a big boy. That's what they have to do. I think, from a on-field perspective, you can certainly look at penalties. That was a problem under Manny Diaz, right? Sloppy, stupid penalties. If Mario's got them a little bit more in control in that regard, that would be good. Obviously running the football, stopping the run, tackling, very fundamental things that I think showed up even against lesser opponents last year, right? Where they were missing tackles badly when they were not able to run the football even against average defenses, like Georgia Tech, for instance, right, where they had to struggle to win that game. So to me, fundamentally, like you said, do your job and execute at a high level in that respect. It's not going to matter what the final score is. Like, I don't think Mario's going to run it up on any of these teams. He's just not that kind of guy. I think he's going to run the ball a lot. So you're going to see running clock. You may not see 70 points, but you may see 45 or 42 or whatever.
Take the points. Take the points is what you're saying. Okay. All right. We got it. Manny Navarro says take the points.
Yeah. So, I agree with you. I think, these first two games, more than anything, I'm really looking at player rotations, like who's getting the heavy minutes, who's starting out, who are they sort of relying upon when the game is still close in the first quarter or two. And see how those guys perform, see how, a guy like Malik Curtis, who's, is going into his second year, didn't play at all last year. And yet all we hear about is how great he is in camp. I want to see DJ Ivey, who is now in his fifth year there, has gone from being a starter to losing his starting job to getting it back. And now everybody's, DJ Ivey's doing great. Well, let's see. Let's see what coaching does. Let's see how much better he is with better coaching. Those are the kind of things I'll look for the first two games. And, do the players who have let Miami down in the past, are they better? If they are, then you can say, well, maybe the coaching really is going to make a difference here. And it's not just, what's between the ears with some of these guys.
All right, so give me a guess, because you can't tell me that it's going to be a fact. So who's the two receivers that Van Dyke can count on for sure?
I think Keyshawn Smith and Xavier Restrepo will be the two guys that see the most targets and have the ball thrown the way the most and kind of are most involved. I think Will Mallory, obviously tight end, it will be a security blanket. Him and Arroyo and the running backs will catch a lot of passes this year. But I think if I had to put $100 down on the two leading receivers and targets and catches, I would say Keyshawn and Xavier. And then, that third guy is kind of the mystery.
Who's the wild card?
Yeah, I would say the wild card could be Brashard Smith, the other slot receiver, because he's a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Did it a couple times last year, flashed, on some wheel routes. I could see them using him. He to me, the little bit that we got to watch at practice, I was most impressed with him because I saw a different kind of player than I did a year ago. It looked like he took a step forward in his progression in terms of just doing the routine and making it look routine. Whereas other guys were still dropping balls. They were still getting yelled at for footwork. He was not in that group. He was doing his job. So I would say he's the wild card.
There you go. All right, what are you working on the Athletic? Getting ready, getting the folks ready for Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a fan story here. Kind of the excitement level and what's going on with the Mario era. By the way, little factoid: Miami hasn't had more than 50,000 fans in attendance for a game since 2019. I know they distributed more than 50,000 tickets for this game, so it's been a couple years since there's been a big crowd at that stadium. Obviously, COVID had something to do with that in 2020, but last year. That horrible start had a lot more to do with why that place was empty, and so I'll have a little thing on fans. But there's a lot of stuff on the website now that's been written this week. I just did an ACC mailbag with Andy Bitter where we talked about the conference, who's on the hot seat, who's legitimately on the hot seat, what expectations for all the first year coaches, ton of stuff. I have recruiting stuff on there. I mean, there's a lot of content available to read.
All right, and follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro, and make sure you subscribe to The Athletic because he's always loading that thing up with stories. Manny, as always, and breaking stories. I appreciate you. Thank you for the insight. We'll catch up next week. Have a great weekend.
All right, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Manny Navarro. And don't forget, $99 and over. When you order at Caneswear, you will get free shipping. And the new Adidas that they have, I got to get me a pair. Those are nice.
is the Big O Show.